want to hear this. I really am headed in a different direction here as far as YouTube is concerned, so it really doesn't matter anymore. But I wanted to say this because I think it's paramount to the conversation right now. I know I said that I wasn't going to pick up and talk anymore about Meg the Stallion, but I got to talk about this right real quick. And I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to try to make it under 30 minutes just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure my nemesis, or well, now it's grown again. Now it's eight of them. They'll come in and try to flag or whatever, whatever. I have two particular women that have made multiple accounts now, and this all adds in. I have two women that have multiple accounts, and these two women, or I don't know if it's one and the same woman, but these two women on a daily basis, anything that I put up that they don't agree with, they flag or whatever the case may be. And I'm not here to complain about that. What I want to talk about is in retrospect of what I'm saying right now in comparison to what you saw yesterday and what's going on today, the celebratory celebration of Tory Lanez being in jail during Christmas where his son is not going to be with him. His son that he was carrying along with him every day in court, his father that was in court with him, and his family. And I thought to myself, when I saw all these comments, and I told you in the summary yesterday, I kind of surmised it a little bit, but I said, you know, it's sad that these women are applauding, but not even realizing that this little boy is going to be without his father. And then the answer to a lot of them will be this: well, he shouldn't have shot Meg. And we can run through that again or whatever. I mean, even the finest of YouTubers, the finest of the finest of prosecutors have made mention of it or whatever, whatever. We'll let the pill speak for itself. How about that? What I more want to focus on is there's an apparent switch in dynamic. And I'm not just talking about relationships. Everybody talks about relationships. Hell, my ex-boss and Rich Dollars talk about relationships. I'll leave that more to them. But there's a dynamic here. And that dynamic is, and I'm maybe I'm crazy for raising the question, but I honestly and truthfully think that black women and many women outside of that, because there was many women writing these comments, but I honestly and truthfully believe that black women showed who they really were yesterday and today. And what I mean by that is anytime that I mean, imagine me and there's some woman online or whatever, right? And she's up for some type of trial or whatever. She loses the trial, and a bunch of us guys, we hop online and we say, ha, she got locked up. Ha. You will be called every type of misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. You will be hit with diatribes of, hey, he hates women and blah, 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 blah. Let me matter of factly straighten you out in the tone of Mammy from Gone with the Wind. And it would be every effort put towards you to get you taken down. Those subsequently that followed and joined you, they would try to get them taken down. They would try to get them removed from different platforms. They would flag your channel and every freaking thing else they could find under the blue sun. That's why I always laugh when a lot of these women scream and they say, oh, I'm oppressed. But as soon as you say something on YouTube or one of these platforms or whatever, the first thing they do is they report you to the same people. They report you to the same people. Oh, they'll flag you. They'll do whatever they do, whatever, whatever. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there's two or three people sitting there ready to flag me. I'm mad at Megan. Tory Lanez didn't shoot Megan. We know that, Redna. Queen Keish, what's going on? How you doing? I have in the past year, and especially Renna S, she knows this, and Queen Keish, she knows this too, because they've been with me for a while. I have had women of color, individual women of color. I'm not saying collectively. I want to make the distinction from that. I'm talking about specifically black and Latin women because that's mostly who trolls my channel. I have had women go on all out campaigns and flag my channel for weeks until we could find out who they were. I've had women leave comments in other different platforms and tell people, not when they're specifically talking about me, just to leave it and say, don't donate to that guy. And I said, what if I was the same type of guy and I went and I said to different platforms, left a comment under their own page or other people's page, and I said, hey, don't donate to her. I've never done that. In the history of me being on YouTube, I only flagged two people, and the only reason I flagged those two people is because they flagged me, and I knew they flagged me because it came up in the email. Depending on what type of what's the name that you put up, it'll tell me who it is in the email. YouTube will tell you. And so I'm left at this situation here where I'm saying I honestly and truly believe there's a high segment of Black and Latin women who honestly think that they are going to not only replace the white woman in this country, and I'm not advocating for white women or anything like that, so let's not get into that conversation, but they actually think they're going to replace the white woman as the go-to spouse for the white man. And in journey towards that, the first thing they have to do is they have to eliminate their present, what would you say, companion, possible, mate, or whatever the case may be. It seems like that's what they're trying to do. And if they can help with that by putting you in the white man's jail, the same spouse that they're so erratically wanting to go after, then so be it. If it happens to be that you're on a train like me and you get into an argument or a spat that is of high school level with a black female ticket collector, and her first option is to call the police when it's absolutely not needed. And then the rest of the white people that are on the train that live in the neighborhood that I live in, that live in the town that I live in, are looking at her like, who is this crass piece of trash? Oh, I can name you many of times that things have happened. I don't think Tory should try to tell on Kelsey if he didn't do it. Rock Nation, they not gonna let go and be bigger than Beyonce. I'll get into that too real quick. I'm gonna make this maybe 35 minutes because I really just want to make this quick. The support is not there monetarily. I mean, it's Christmas Eve and I didn't even have one motherfucker donate at least $10 to me. So I'm not gonna be jumping on camera, getting myself prepared and doing all the extra stuff. I just do the basic necessity now for this point on until monetarily the channel gets better. If you'd like to donate, it's $STRINGERBELL80. I think I'm actually going to change that too because I had someone from Cash App contact me and said somebody was trying to fraudulently claim my Cash App as theirs. That just happened Wednesday. I forgot to bring that up yesterday. In contents with that, there are a segment of black women and Latin women who honestly somehow cerebrally or somehow mentally believe that they are the perfect and upcoming replacement for the white woman as the white man's spouse. And I don't care what anybody says, they show it. They are willing to sell out. They are willing to be, in the old world terms, they would call them concubines. They are willing to throw you up under the bridge. They are willing to lie on you, like that woman did when she tried to call the police on me on the train. And I made her look like a fool in front of the police, walked off with the police when she thought I was going to get arrested. I said, no, 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 no. You're trying to pretend you're a person like me. I'm actually the person you're trying to pretend. See, I actually grew up in suburban areas. I actually grew up under tutelage of people that were, I don't know if you want to say intelligent or whatever the case may be. I actually grew up and went to college. I actually grew up and graduated high school. I actually had a job that provided not only substance, but an experience that most people will never have in their entire life working at record companies, which I'm going to answer your question about Megan and the record companies in a minute, because I know y'all was going to ask that. I just did a live not too long ago in front of Def Jam, which Jay-Z used to be in that building. Now, this is the funny thing. These women on this tribe and of this partition of tribe within the demographic of black women and Latin women, they will not stop at anything. And instead of defend you, what they will do is they will join on board. If you see the comment that Rena S wrote in here, that's rare. That's rare. And you would think that's rare. But when it comes to an issue of the women, like with Brittany Griner, we're supposed to all celebrate. Mind you, Brittany Griner went over there with weed on her, hashish, whatever you want to call it, and we traded her for an arms dealer called the Merchant of Death. But we're supposed to applaud that. I got a video for about Brittany Griner that's gonna surprise y'all a little bit. I may or may not put it up. They want our support, but when it comes to us, they want to pile on you. They want to be judgmental. They want to allocate for you to have your demise. If you are seen to have some type of financial happening, they parade for you to go broke. They will make fun of you online for coming broke. If you say something that you know in a room full of white people will make perfect sense, instead they will taunt you, call you crass names. I do not like the fact that as you refer to your men, you refer to them, whether it be in public, private, or online, as the N word. Well, the way I feel is, if a N word want to date me, they don't even call you a man, they call you an N word. And I keep trying to tell y'all, if a black and Latin woman calls you that and she says, you're my N word, leave her immediately or either check her on her verbiage. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you don't, it will continue on. And if you get a woman that wants to continue on using that verbiage, at that moment, she's trying to test you and see how far she can take it. So you have three options. You can either duff her, you can walk away, or you can quite lately just cuss out. You understand what I'm saying? I would pick the latter of the three. I would just cuss you out and move away. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. If you don't do anything else, you don't want to donate, it's real free to hit the like button. Thank you. With that being said, there's no respect. And these women don't have any respect for you. And you don't have to believe that or not. And I see a simp every day online. What is it going to take to defend black women? They're not being attacked. They're not being attacked in the same elevation as the men are. They're not. And I don't care what anybody has to say. There are actually women out here that are murdering men and children on a daily basis. I'll give you a perfect example. In New York City, within a 2-week period, there was one woman who killed two of her kids, put them in a bathtub, and put clothes over top of them in an apartment that the shelter provides. The shelters in New York, they provide these little apartment buildings sometimes or whatever, and you're still part of the shelter system, but it's your own apartment. It's a small apartment, but it's your apartment. Not even a week and a half, it wasn't even full 2 weeks. It was a week and a half later, we had a woman that got into a dispute at one of these other homeless shelters. She ended up stabbing up and knifing up the woman in front of everybody and left. She's still on the run to this day. This all happened within a 2-week period. I can show you numerous different stories where these women are hitting men with cars, hitting people while they're asleep, being violent, get into an argument with your girl. What's the first thing she does? She smacks you. And society says it's okay to smack him because you're a man. You're supposed to take it. This society does. If she would have did it in the Middle East or whatever, they probably would have buried her up to her head in sand and said, you sit here for 3 hours and you think about what you did under Sharia law. You understand? Different parts of the world operate different when it comes to their women. This is why a lot of them have control of their women, and every woman in America seems to be running amok right now with these false ideologies, these silly ideologies, and specifically black and Latin women. Oh, they say some of the silliest things, and it's so drowning sometimes when they talk to you. It's almost like every time you talk to a black and Latin woman, they just want to douse out every last thing that's wrong with them. And you are just supposed to sit there and be their personal punching bag for them to say everything that's wrong with them. And I've run into this time after time after time after time. Yet these same women will not sit and listen to a word you have to say, very even alone, even ask you how your day was going. And if they do, it's very brief. These women don't care about you, fellas. They don't care anything about you. They don't care about your health. They don't give a fuck about if you live or die. They don't care if you live out the rest of your life by yourself or with a companion. And they showed that by demonstration yesterday when all the advocacy picked gender over the truth. This woman lied several times under testimony, was caught out, was reported by numerous, and I want to say numerous, legitimate news sources, ABC, NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox News. They all reported it, and they all said the same thing. This woman lied under oath. Not one time, but several times. Had that been a man and he lied under oath, they would have took him out kicking and screaming right there in the courtroom. You are in contempt of court, put the shackles on him. Any man, black, white, Latin, it doesn't matter. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all these responses, the sisterhood or the coven, as I like to say, because really what these women are is a coven of witches. You haven't realized it yet, but that's really what they are. And I love how Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, it actually ushered it into you. I watched it as it happened. I said, watch, these chicks are going to get more evil now. They're going to get more evil now. I saw the same disdain that I saw when Kevin Samuels died. And I'm 50-50 with Kevin Samuels. Some of the things he said, I really agree with. Some of the things he said, I think you're doing a little too extreme. And I don't think you have the experience because the past 30 years you had been a nerd. But at the same time, the man has some points. And some of those points are coming to attrition now, more so than ever. There is something wrong with these women, specifically in the African American and Latin American women groups, demographics, whatever you want to call it. And the reason I say this, you have to be a true sicko to laugh at someone's death that you have never met, has never done anything to you, etc., in the case of Kevin Samuels. But in the case of Tory Lanez, you have to be a real sicko and a weirdo to wish that this man be in jail for a crime that he didn't do, where you have other people in the lawyer realm, judge realm, this and that constituency, it was in itself, that paradigm of the judicial system, now doing interviews saying the same thing. I don't understand how this man was convicted. How? And instead of women using the little bit of power that they have to bring up the same question, because I will stick to my guns. I think it's one of the two things. Isn't that ironic? I said it like that. But one of the two things happened here. Either Meg shot herself accidentally, she didn't get shot at all, or Kelsey shot her. So that's three things, excuse me. Either way it goes, I don't care. But what I want you guys to do, if you would, I want you today to go over to all the outlets that are carrying Tory Lanez music. All the outlets that are carrying Tory Lanez music, because I know what they're going to do next. They're going to try to run him dry. So that way, if he wins an appeal, he won't have the money to substantiate or sustain being able to fight for his appeal, because now he's in jail, he can't tour. That's going to be the next move, I believe, of Rock Nation. And Rock Nation, I got to say this. If what his father said is true, which is a probability of it, because before this man's father even talked and there was a white news outlets reporting it, y'all all like, ooh, and y'all were reporting it on your own channels, you hypocrite motherfuckers. But when Tory Lanez's father says it's wrong, but beforehand, it was a probability. You cannot trust Black and Latin folks anymore. I would say at a preponderance of at least 70%. Now, at one time, it used to be quite different. We used to all hang out and have fun and kiki and a ha-ha, and we truly meant it from a good place. But in the space that we are in now, and this is paramount that you listen to this, in the space we live in right now, it could cost you your life. I saw all the videos with Meg the Stallion and Tory hanging out before all this happened. I seen the video when she was in the pool, Megan next to Kylie Jenner, who you can look between Kylie's had plastic surgery, there's no doubt about it. But if you look at those two side by side, it's not hard to make a decision here. Meg, you're not that pretty. There was a girl that came on her live, and I'll find the footage and I'll throw it up. And she says, Meg don't look like that in person, meaning that she was overly done. The fake eyebrows, looking like she's about to take off like a butterfly, all the layers of makeup and, the push-up bras, the push-up booty shorts and all that, whatever. This is a facade that this woman is. Because if this woman was not a superstar, you put her in a normal room around some real bad chicks, they're not picking her. They'll pick her for the night. They're not picking her for a wife. And all these girls that were online advocating for her, they were advocating out of two things: gender and race. Black women for some reason or another, believe that they look strong. And I know a lot of people gonna be like, well, who the fuck are you to say something? Ain't you half Cuban or something like that? Somebody wrote in my chat room. Yes, I am. But my point is this. I can talk about them because my mother's black. And I'm telling you for a first-hand fact, most of the girls that were on there and the way they are perceived by the world, you are the United States victim class now. Women are really looked at as the victim class now, but you're really looked at as the victimhood class. Every time that you have to get on as a black woman, every time you have to hop on as, oh my God, they did this to a black, you just got to listen to the verbiage and the language, and you'll understand that you're being set up by a higher entity than you even realize. See, as much as more and continuously I can make you perceive, promote you to the society as your victim, then people start feeling a certain type of nauseousness about you. And what the nauseousness is, it's the same thing as the excuse, oh, it's because I'm black, or they racist. And not to say that these things don't exist, because they do. But when you're consistently saying it, you have nothing else to say outside something that's sarcastic, benign, obnoxious, overbearing, trying to set dominance, or whatever the case may be, then you are now no more than a victim class, a victim demographic of women. And I don't know why more people haven't said it. These women get online and they cry, they whine or whatever. I can't believe that my OnlyFans account got locked and now I can't make any money. Here you go, baby. Here you go, $40,000. Super simp flows right in. You know why? Because he was raised singly by one of these women. And his mother taught him, no matter what happened, I want you to have the utmost respect for women of color, because that reminds you of me, your mama. But when it comes to another man, this is why these men get online and say the stupidest shit. I'm going to get to y'all too, because a whole bunch of y'all was online, and I couldn't believe these were men talking. These were men talking. I said, I would have rather you said nothing than something at all. These were men talking. Fellas, pay attention. Pay attention to every simp, every asinine freaking cuck that you saw online yesterday and today that were sitting there and they were validating Tory Lanez being locked away. Pay attention to them. Don't hang with them no more if you know them. Don't speak to them no more if you know them. If they're on your timeline, block them and remove them as friends. Most of y'all got more than 100 friends anyway. That's why I never take a loss. I got damn near 13,000 people that follow me on this channel alone, and I never get upset. I stopped getting upset when I got to 5K. I don't care if somebody came on my page one day and was like, oh, well, I'm unsubscribed. I was like, that's it? I blocked them and their comment. Erase them motherfuckers from your timeline. Any of these simps, let them run over there with the girls. Go put your dress on, since you want to be so much like the girls. Go put your dress on, get your training bra, and set them out there in the streets with the rest of them. Pop and lock it and go hook up with Saucy Santana. He know what to do with you. Saucy, I'm gonna send them all down there to you. They want to be part of the crew. A bunch of feminine, homosexual men. I'm not calling out homosexual. Let me state that better. Because I got folks in the LGBT community that I know that's tougher than this, and they even saying the same thing online. Meg's a cap. And it's going to come out sooner or later. But these men are feminine. They're at the behest of women only because they believe that it is the right thing to do because of their mama. Their mama. Mama. You will never hear these men in one of their posts mention their father, because their mother has spent the whole entire lifetime that they've been raised talking down upon their fathers. Most of the time. Most of these women that you see have an ordained fashion and hatred and misandry and are misandrous at their very core. They do not like men. And if they do like men, they like men to use them for their finances, which I've witnessed and been part of myself. Their sexual innuendos, which I've witnessed and been part of myself. or for your listening ear. And you got to be very careful of the last two. The listening ear, and the other one is the sexual innuendos. Now, let me tell you something. I have no problem with a listening ear. But what prompted me to do this was I had a female call me today, not even maybe an hour ago. And instead of, I hadn't talked to this person in a very long time. When I say a very long time, I'm talking about like a couple of months. So instead of sitting there and having a conversation with me, hey, how you doing? How's everything going? Is everything worked out for you? Blah, 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 blah. How's Stanford going? Or whatever, whatever. And this is a person from the other side of Connecticut where I used to live at for a while. Instead of them asking me that, this person said, hey, I said, what's up? She said, hey, yo, have you seen so-and-so? I said, no, I haven't seen so-and-so. So the first thing she starts doing is oh, well, let me tell you this, and the blah, 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 and all this unnecessary gossiping and chatting and everything like that. And I mean, not unnecessary. I was actually happy to hear from this person. But they started, and as I'm listening to them, the tone in their voice is getting more and more and more and more solemn. You understand? I was by myself in the middle of the pandemic in New York City. I had been back down in New York City for 3 years. Things were starting to go good. And then, boom, this freaking what's the name came. And I was, everybody, like everybody else, I was shocked by it. And I had to retreat and come back to Connecticut. Yeah. When I got back to Connecticut, many of the people that I knew, I hadn't realized in that little 3 years I had been gone had moved. Their lives had changed. Some of them had kids. Some of them got married. Some of them had moved on in life, whatever the case may be. The same friends that I had before, even though some of them were still there, many of them had moved on with their life as I had anticipated to do with myself before the pandemic started. So I didn't make a big deal out of it. But this person I was talking to, I remember at that time when the pandemic was going on, I had contacted this person. I said, hey, listen, you think I can come by the crib or whatever, whatever? Because I was going through some rough times. I said, you think I can come through the crib, whatever, whatever, just to get situated real quick for a couple hours? And she was like, well, the pandemic's going on and everything. I just don't want you through. Now, mind you, this woman has no children whatsoever, anything like that. I suggested at the time, I said, well, I'll wear the mask and I'll sit in the other room or whatever. We just talk through the room or whatever. No, I don't think that's a good idea, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But you had the audacity to call me today and try to keep me for almost 20 minutes on the phone talking about whatever, whatever, acting like that moment didn't happen. No, bitch, I remember that. Excuse my French. I remember that. And I'll still be your friend, but we'll never be the same, ever. So I said, well, yo, I got to go cook. So, which I didn't. I went outside to smoke a cigarette instead. And then I saw one of my neighbors, and she always puts a smile on my face, an older woman, but she's a kind, good soul, I can tell. And so I saw her, and I said, that's God's way of letting me know. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't worry about it. But it was just crazy because I was just like, yo, if I was a man, and I just proved it to you when I said the thing that went on with the pandemic, so I really don't have to say this, but I just want to add this in. If I was a man and I was calling you and I was talking about the same things you were talking about, oh, woe's this, oh, woe's that, oh, woe's this, I am not the person to talk to if you're not solution based. I come from a background in the music industry. We cannot sit around and have excuses. Oh, well, we can't do it right now. He's just going to have to wait. What? The album's out tonight. Oh, we having problems, so we just gonna have to wait. Yo, he's supposed to be performing in the next 15 minutes. So you had to be solution based. So my ideology, my mindset, everything like that is solution based. I do not do complaining, constant complaining, and you're not trying to be solution based and what's going on. Those type of conversations I have no time for because it just becomes repetitive, it becomes depressing, it will even take you out of your mood. It's like an energy vampire type of reaction. And there's nothing you could do for the person on the end that's dosing this out for you, because they are stuck in that mind frame themselves. And what they're really trying to do is trying to express to you why you're in this mind, why they're in this mind frame. But at the same time, they want your open ear because other people won't listen to them. And I know that's why that girl called me. And I was like, yo, you just messed up my whole fucking day. Like with this shit. I don't need to hear stuff like that. I have unresolved issues. Do you know, could you imagine what it's like to come outside in Midtown Manhattan and there's nobody outside? There's nobody outside. It's so quiet. There's no cars moving. There's no people really moving. You might see one or two people the whole entire day, maybe possibly five. And you're just looking and you're like, this world that at one time used to be so full and so blessed and everybody was out everywhere. And now it's back to a little bit of normal. But I was there when all that was happening. And I said, yo, with the one time that you needed a friend or somebody like that, that was the one time and the one moment that you would need it. Now, I know y'all think this is a little bit off the key, but what I'm trying to underline for you is this. Women that think like this, they use men emotionally. That's one form of it. And when they use these men emotionally, they're also quick to throw you away in the same sentence after whatever is ailing them is cured. They will throw you away. They will get rid of you. They will toss you to the side or whatever, whatever. And many men don't understand this dynamic, especially younger men. They don't understand this dynamic. I understand it only because I got two sisters. It's the only reason I understand it. And I'm still getting to know why a lot of women do a lot of things that they do. And honestly and truthfully, I think a lot of women don't even understand why they do the things that they do. And regardless, with that being said, men, I'm going to give you the best advice I can give you, and I'm going to get off of here. Moving forward, your women showed you yesterday online and today online in their celebratory sentences what they think of you, what your worth is, who you are to them. And if you're not one of these guys that agrees with them, they are quick to ready to throw you away. They are quick to ready to toss you, trash you, berate you, become obnoxious, and in many cases become violent. So I'm going to tell you a couple bits of information that maybe will help you move along your day. Number one, if you are constantly, and this has always been a rule of mine, if you are constantly, and I'll even give you warnings while I'm talking to you about this, not you particularly, but I'm talking about the person that I was talking to today. Because I warned her several times, like, yeah, I hear you, but listen, this ain't the vibe I'm in right now. I'm trying to get some other shit done. And at the time, I was sitting there searching for stories and things like that. I mean, it totally takes you off cue. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I make no escapes about it. I have my own little issues or whatever, whatever, because of what happened during that pandemic shit and all that stuff or whatever, whatever. So I don't really need a downer, you know what I'm saying, on a constant basis. It's not even good for me to have a mate or a friend that's a downer all the time because it affects my personality. So I tend to stay away from people that make me feel like that. And some people will make you feel like that because they feel like that. And so they want company to join them so they can so you can feel like them all over again. And basically it's kind of like a crab in the bucket mentality without even saying it, because basically it's like, well, I want you to be happy but not happier than me. I want you to be good but not better than me. I want you to be well off but not more well off than me. This is a crab in a bucket mentality, and this is the same crab in bucket mentality that these women are applying to the men, their own men. And once you, let's say you're successful, ladies, and you eradicate all your men, right? All the ones that you think that are not demon, they're not with you, or they speak against you, or they won't fly the right way. Because really what this is all about is domination. I keep bringing that up to y'all over and over and over. Only the smart ones going to hear me. They're trying to dominate you. And they're using other men along the way for not only their prowess, their strength, their positions, or whatever the case may be, to do so. It's a very manipulative, strategic thing. And most of the time, you just see it in dating. You never really see it taken this far. But what I think has happened is these women have noticed that, well, if I can apply this in dating, I can probably apply this in the real world. And being that many of the men that are ushering them in their dating life, this is how they are. You understand what I'm saying? So based upon the fact that this is how they are in their dating life, they pretty much this is how they interact with women all the time. If they show some type of interest, show some type of intelligence, show some type of possibility, whatever the case may be. Men love the thought of a possibility. They love the thought of a possibility. Men will spend thousands of dollars on it based on the fact that it might be a possibility that I can sleep with her. It might be a possibility that we go on a date. It might be a possibility that we get married. It might be a possibility that she'll be my one and only. You don't believe me? Men have been buying engagement rings for the past 120 years now. Why? Because of the possibility of engaging with their woman and saying to her, will you marry me? Well, there's a possibility she might say no, which we've seen that before, haven't we? Possibilities. Men will spend thousands of dollars on a possibility of the love and the affection of a woman. If y'all never believed anything else I said here on YouTube, believe that. How do I know? Because I was one of them. Every guy, and I've been a guy for a very long time, most guys, even if they don't admit it, they want that one girl that's going to stay with them, that's going to rock with them, that's going to be down with them. And even if they mess up along the way, baby, still stay here. You know, I messed around with her, but I love you. It's the difference, and it is. I can meet a chick at the club tonight, sleep with her, do whatever, and have no emotional attachment to her outside that moment we spent together. I can also meet a woman at the club and I could end up having a whole future in a family with her. It depends on how cool you are, how well your manners are, and who you are as a woman, and how you made me feel, not in the moment of sex, but after sex. If you ever have a one night stand with somebody, ain't nothing awkward than when after y'all finish. So that's the most awkward space you could ever be in right there after y'all finished. And I'm not going to say directly after you finish. I'm going to say give it like 20, 30 minutes, usually. She starts thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Am I a tramp? And oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I don't do this all the time. And okay, well, I did it 2 weeks ago, but still, you know what I mean? Like it becomes those things or whatever. And so now a man has to be pressurized in dealing with that. And, you know, it can end up a certain thing, whatever the case may be. But now we have a society of hookup culture that these women don't feel that acquiesce to them anymore. And I'm telling you, ladies, you're wrong. Between all those little fake, triumphant little speeches you give online and city girls in control, F a man, blah, 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 all that corny stuff that y'all say online, a lot of you chicks are hitting 30, 35, 40, 45 years old nowadays. And you're still listening to the taunts and the lyrics of girls that are 19, 20, 21. How old is Glorilla? 21, 22? And I can respect Glorilla because there's a video up of Glorilla when she used to work at McDonald's. A lot of you girls saying it ain't worked a job, not even online, not even been a YouTuber or worked remotely in 10 years or more. That's why I love when a woman's be trying to flex on me. I'd be like, do you know why I used to work at? Like that woman I got into it with on the train. She's like, yeah, I've been here 20 years. I said, you've been collecting tickets for 20 years. You ain't really set the world on fire, did you? Like she was bragging about it. I'm not making fun of her, but she was bragging about it like that was a badge of honor. And she was going to insult me by saying such. And I said, sweetheart, you don't realize what world you're in right now. And I said, you can't make no more than about 70, 80,000 a year after you break down taxes in the state of Connecticut or New York. That's only around about, I don't know, If you make 80,000, break it down by taxes, they're usually taking damn near about 20,000 out total together, between 25,000 to 35,000 in this state, or 34,000, I'll say. So if you make $100,000, you really only make 70,000. So if you make $80,000, you really only made like 55, 56,000. If your rent is about $1,800 a month, you're really left with probably $1,000, $1,500 to play with. Now, it's a guy that worked for multi-millionaires. That ain't shit. I know some of these guys that fucking suite cost $1,500. So I'm trying to tell you guys, this game that these women are running, all going to be running on you in the next few days, is going to be a benign game. It's going to be a game of ha ha, he he, key. And what they're going to be trying to prove to you is their worth. They now believe that they are some worth, a worth that is a falsehood. See, what you don't understand, girls, is the system just played a game on you. They're going to make you feel like, so you build somebody up to tear them down. Let me say that one more time for you. Sometimes you build people up to tear them down. And so what I think the judicial system did, and I think what you're going to see happens here, and I think the only reason that they locked Tory Lanez up during Christmas is so they could have some satisfaction. Because they knew if they let him go out the courtroom and they said not guilty, it was caused a travesty and it's caused a problem. Now, if my aim is correct here, I think he'll win the appeal. I think he'll come back, win the case. They'll show circumstantial evidence that was admitted and submitted. And I think Tory will walk free. Now, the damage to Tory's already been done because of the pure simple fact he got convicted. Now, I think that was a shot at him because of the pure simple fact they want to take his money away. Kind of like what you've seen with Kanye. Oh, it's an ongoing effort to do that. And a lot of women of color help facilitate it. No, you know what I mean, girls. You know what I mean. Your words you say online. You get online and talk about everybody else and complain about everybody else except yourselves. Except yourselves. When it comes to yourselves collectively as a gender group, not culture gender group, but as a gender group, you blame everybody, point fingers at everybody, victimize yourself amongst everybody, but you never take the time to look at you. And I'm telling you, for somebody that knows firsthand, every dog has his day. And it's going to come to time when the right personality, the right public head figure is going to bring up that very same question. Oh, it's going to come. Trust me, it always comes that way. One thing I know, in working in that damn marketing department, is how to predict things. This was before I worked in record companies before they had Facebook and all that stuff or whatever. We had to predict what was going to happen. And we had to predict it out for a lot of probabilities. I'm not going to tell you those probabilities. You got to pay for that. But we had to pick it on probabilities. Anybody else that's listening to me that's been in the music business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you were there before the advent of Facebook and Twitter and all these different places or whatever, which effectively ended up making me lose my job because everybody started utilizing that. To this day, I think that was one of the biggest mistakes the Puff ever made, among other ones. The other mistake you made was getting some real down people that were there for the right reasons up and away from you, which I'll talk about that another time. It was one of the biggest mistakes ever that the record company made, was getting rid of our department and replacing it with Twitter and all this stuff. And now you see the same thing that you replaced us with, Puff. It's the same outlet that on a daily diatribe attacks you. Isn't that ironic how that rolls, huh? These women that y'all dealing with are a new breed and a different breed of woman. This is not your auntie. This is not your grandmother. This is not any of those people. This is a woman that is cantankerous. She is mean. She is evil. She is benign. She will address you as beneath her, even if you are 3 full leagues above her. I've had women that look like damn near they just walked out the housing projects, trying to act like they better than me. I said, well, you could do the actress role. I love women that get into the actress role. Do you know what I mean by the actress role? There's 2 different actress roles out here, I've noticed. I'm very good at perception. There's one actress role that takes place offline. Okay, we'll start there first. And this actress role is when you go into your local restaurant or go get a coffee, whatever the case may be, and there's a woman in there, and let's say the first three people, they don't necessarily have to be any particular color, but they're just a different race than you are. And let's say this woman is either African American or Latina, and when she gets to you, she wants to give you a hard time. And what she'll do is, even though she doesn't realize, you're taking my order, you're making my coffee, and you're serving me. Either one or two, she has reached that reality and she knows that this is the reason why she's doing this, or two, she actually doesn't understand this dynamic as far as tier. So, regardless, I don't care what one it is, it's the sentiment is the same. You are an evil, benign person. So as I sit there and I literally, sometimes I'll take it, sometimes I'll say something quirk. I'm very good at having little quirk comebacks. And I don't prefer to do that because that's not my intention. My intention is not to walk out the door and argue with women. But I got two sisters and I will check your ass real quick. Real quick. Did it for years. There's certain ways you got to deal with women when they get a little irate. And the best thing to do is be quick and corp about it. Don't sit there and keep going back and forth with them or whatever, unless the space won't permit anything else. But the first thing you want to do is you want to end that argument quick, because you're in their mind, you're not going to win. They're going to always have to say the last word. They're always going to have to say something. So you just got to live with that part. That part, as it ever may and remain, is cool with me. I don't care. After I walk up out of here from getting my coffee or whatever else, I don't know you. And this is not my experience every time. Let me underline that. But it has happened many of times. This is because of a preconceived notion that because you are who you are as a man of color, or generally sometimes as a man, because I'm seeing white men are going through this as well. If you have this happen to you, you have to realize one thing at that moment. This is the person that you're dealing with that has low self-esteem. They don't think much of themselves. They don't care much about others because of the how can I say it? The mental place that they're in right now. You understand what I'm saying? For example, if you meet somebody and they working at McDonald's, right? Let's just say McDonald's. And they've been at McDonald's and they've been on fries for the past 10, 15 years, right? And they've seen customer after customer after customer after customer walk through their doors. Some of the customers are nice, some of the customers are mean. But at some certain point, the person starts making decision factors about who's going to be nice and who's going to be mean based off of how you look, based off of your gender, based off gender specific with culture, based off of many of different regularities in here, right? And so they start making these preordained judgment calls. And I would say probably 90% of the time they're wrong. But, in their mind and where their education level is, which most of the time ain't really high, and that's not an insult, that's just reality. If you been working at McDonald's for the past 10 years, I would imagine that you're not very educated beyond that spectrum. Now, that's not an insult, that's just reality. If you even more so over 25 and you're working in one of those places, you ain't the manager or something like that, or the district manager or something like that, I'm even have a harder time believing you. This is what you do. So you got to understand the space of the women that are actually insulting you. Many of these women that are online and they're advocating and talking the most, many of these women live in the city housing projects. Many of these women on their side baby number 3, 4, and 5 by 2 or 3 different men. Many of these women don't have any education whatsoever, and they're just piggybacking off of women and language points of women that do. And these women that are also, because I went to college with a lot of dumb people, okay? And what I mean by dumb people is you can read and reiterate and regurgitate everything that we've learned in this book, whether it be the history of mass media, whether it be vertical integration and synergy, all these different elements, right? as far as like what I was into was digital media, and which is a subline for marketing. You can have all these different things, and you know how to execute what you've been taught. But a real person of the profession or the genre in which you studied under, they know how to apply that and matriculate that to their own personal needs. This is no different than a mechanic. This is no different than a plumber or any person that has a skill trade. These skill trades, yeah, I know how to fix a water pump, but Midas, they might take 3 or 4 days to do it. Joe Blow from down the block that used to work at the Ford plant. You understand what I'm saying? Well, he was fixing water pumps for 30 freaking years. So I'm gonna choose Joe Blow to fix it first before I choose you, even though you're freshly graduated or freshly certified or whatever the case may be, because Joe Blow was there for 30 years. He has had his own technique that he has developed. You see? So when I see these women that are talking, one thing I want you guys to start doing is don't automatically reply. The worst thing you can ever give them is your time. Don't give them your time. You give them your time, you already lost the argument. So don't give them your time. The second thing that you should do is go look at their page. And their page will tell everything about them. I can't tell you how many times I've done this, how many times I've done this. I go look at your page, it tells me enough. You got 3, 4 side babies. I can look at the neighborhood you live in. There ain't no father around, ain't even a man around that want to be around with you, just in case. Most women, even if they got killed, they got children. There's always some man, if they're a good woman, there's always some man that'll be like, well, you know what? I like her and them kids. See what I'm saying? There'll always be, if you're a good woman, there'll always be a man, and regardless if you got 1 or 2 side babies or whatever. But if you're a cantankerous, nasty, this obnoxious person, and that's really how you got into the situation you got into in the first place, because most men, they don't want to leave their kids. And I'm talking in regard to the single mothers. Most men don't want to leave their kids. Now, I know, ladies, there's also situations where women get beat. There's also situations where you had a baby by a dusty dude. There's also situations where, you know, he was abusive or may have been doing something to the kids. There's a different scenario. So, ladies, don't get me wrong. I understand that. And these are realities that should be paid attention to. GT Master, divided and dumb, argumentative and disagreeable, lost to the presence of the enemy. I couldn't have said it better myself. Why I'm not getting why Beyonce and Jay-Z not releasing a statement in support of Megan. I'm gonna tell you because I owe her that. Guys, if you want to donate, it's $ STRINGERBELL80. I don't know why y'all being so tight. It's Christmas, y'all. If y'all keep hearing me say that, like, you know what I'm saying, there should be some movement, but that's okay. I'm here to educate right now. And make sure you hit the like button. And if you don't have Cash App, there's a PayPal link, GoFundMe link, and there's also Amazon wish list. So you got all different ways you can do it. It's I don't think Jay-Z will ever make a statement. I think if that did come out to be true, I don't think it was Jay-Z's call. How about that? And if you guys are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, there's been some chatter that Megan had and her team had something to do, more preferably, probably legal team, had something to do with him not being facilitated a deal, a certain type of deal, moving forward, or whatever the case may be. And I think it was a signage of him, if I'm correct. And I'm gonna give y'all one for free. I remember a time, and many of the people that have been in the music business, I wish Big Face Gary was around right now. Big Face Gary, what's going on? Because he actually used to work at Rockefeller. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Big Face Gary. That's the homie right there. Make sure y'all go check out his page. He was at some of the premier years of Rockefeller Records. He knows Kanye. He knows Beans. He was, you know, on tour with them, moving around with them, or whatever. Reputable man. He was there. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's not your Gene Deals or other people like that. So don't go over there looking for that. That's not what Gary does. On Haiti, on compris, oui. But shout out to Big Face Gary. The point I'm getting at is I remember there was a time where certain artists used to get distribution deals. I ain't gonna say who was specific, but certain artists used to get distribution deals. And the distribution deal that they got, that was a setup. Y'all don't understand what a distribution deal is. That's basically when we had physical copies of albums, and the company, the parent company at the time, which was usually larger conglomerates, like we were with BMG. I was with BMG first, which is Bertelsmann Music Group. They're actually a German conglomerate. They're actually based in, I think, Sweden or Germany, one of the two. And then there's after that we went to Atlantic Records, which Atlantic Records is pretty much foreign based now too. And then finally Interscope before I was let go and I didn't work for the company anymore officially at the time, but still affiliated with the company because of my long at that time veteran status now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely alumni. Make no mistake about that. And they will never let me forget that either. But that's another story. These guys used to get these distribution deals. And then what they would do is they would sign an artist that was either competition, someone they didn't like, or someone that just personally they thought, you know what, I want you to release an album, but you got to get some better cuts on the album. You understand? And back then, the norm for album album was usually, I don't know, 8 to 12 songs. You know, if you threw anything on there more than 12 songs, they were bonuses, or you were just giving them, you know what I'm saying? So you were just giving them something extra or whatever. So what they would do is on the latter two of the options, they would sign dudes and they would never release your album. When's my album come out? Never. Without saying it to you. You know what I mean? Um, Not only would they sign people like that, but sometimes what would happen is the duration of them signing would be somewhere between, we're going to let you go in 4 years. We're going to let you go in 6 years. We're going to let you go when you complete 2 albums. But the problem is album number one never gets red lighted to have a launch date. You understand? Or if it gets red lighted to have a launch date, what happens is they pull back and they say, oh, you know what? We ain't ready yet. The budget ain't right yet. We want to do $1 million video for you, but we just wait for the budget to come through. It's 2 years later, that budget still ain't came through because nobody has either red lighted the budget, or two, the person who's saying that to you, whether they be management, whatever the case may be, has pocketed a significant amount of that money. Meaning if it's $1 million, you're lucky if you got 450,000 left. You understand? And what they'll do is they'll negotiate with the person that's shooting the video, and they'll get them almost like a payment thing. Well, listen, let me give you 450 right now. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna give you the rest a little bit later. And what they hope is the video will matriculate not only spends, as we used to call it, spends, but it'll also matriculate revenue of the excitability of the single. Meaning that if the single is a success based on the video pillaring it and pushing it, what happens is there's a whole bunch of elements that come into play. There's merchandise, that's the number one. Concert sales, club appearances, walkthroughs, all that comes off of sometimes just one song. If you need an example of that, a lot of artists nowadays, they don't even release full albums. They release a single and they can tour off that single for a complete year and retire. They used to shelf guys. And a lot of us know people that have been shelved. If you've been in the music industry, you know I'm not telling a lie. I saw one particular person when I started talking about that, they jumped right offline. I ain't gonna tell them too much. I ain't gonna tell them too much. Like I tell you, they gotta pay for that. I ain't gonna tell them too much. Don't worry. I never get on here and talk too much because I know I gotta be eventually around these people again. You understand what I'm saying? And then sometimes what happens is when I'm in NY, I run into a lot of these people. You know what I'm saying? Either on purpose or accidentally. So I had to be very careful. And I said that months ago, so it's not new that I'm saying right now. But Jay-Z and Beyonce will never make a statement. If they do make a statement, it'll be a statement under 10 seconds. It'll be a statement under 10 seconds or no longer than a minute in response to that. And I don't think that anybody that thinks anything other than that well, you're a fool if you think so. I'm sorry. The guy's worth $1 billion now. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. Not just a single-digit billionaire, a multi-billionaire now. Okay, we're not talking about little money. We're not talking about your little job. I had this man yesterday. I went to go get me a coffee, and he sat down beside me. This man had to be at least every bit of 60 something years old, and he was sitting there trying to impress me, talking about his little what was he talking about? A little construction gig or something like that or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I want to a day, papi, da, 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 da. I was just like, yeah, pa, no, we were talking in Spanish, but I said, yeah, I get it, man. And then he said one final thing about I was like, okay, ja. Like I don't want to hear no more about that normal shit. Ain't no money in that. Like, you know what I mean? But to him, that was a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? To me, I call that night barely getting by. You understand what I'm saying? Even in the sentiment of where I'm at right now, this is so not me. You know what I mean? But you deal with it. For the most part, I got nice people to live around me, but the assholes kind of outnumber them. We got a lot of assholes that came over here from different parts. I mentioned this before, from Bridgeport, New York, Norwalk, people that normally wouldn't be in this city, and they're here and they bring their shitty attitudes with them, including the women. But I'll get into that another time. But yeah, it's not that action. She not hated, just not trusted. I would tell you this. One, I'm going to say what I said before. I want everybody to go before they start this one because I know how this goes. Okay, I've been trying to tell y'all for 2 years now. And if you go back to some of my lives from 2 years ago, you'll see what I'm talking. I was telling y'all then, I've been and told y'all. When you discommunicate, I saw Myron from Fresh and Fit. Shout out to Myron, New Britain Myron. Myron's from Connecticut. I saw Myron and Fresh break it down yesterday with DJ Academics. And in his diatribe, he said something that stuck out. He said, and I want to paraphrase a little bit here, or whatever the case may be is, but the way that a lot of companies go out of their way to not only discommunicate, but to remove their music off of certain platforms. You understand? They did this with Kanye. You just got to watch what happened with Kanye and you'll understand. I was telling you the stuff that Kanye is telling you right now 2 years ago, and I'm gonna clip some of that stuff and I'm gonna put it back up and I'm gonna prove myself. I don't have to prove myself to my long-term listeners, but a lot of y'all are new listeners, so you don't know this. But there was a time when I used to do lives and I was talking nothing but specifically about the music industry, and nobody appreciated it. Then later on, year out, I start getting people coming back to me and they're like, yo, you really know what you was talking about. Yeah, I know what I was talking about because I spent 17 years in that business. That's just like if you bake cookies, wouldn't you know how to make the best chocolate chip cookies or what the baker's going to do next as he's mixing up the bowl? You know what I mean? Before everybody. So sometimes it's hard for people to realize that because their interpretation of somebody that's in the music business is always the star. You understand what I'm saying? No, I worked with the stars, a lot of them. I think in my 17 years, we promoted something upwards of 60 something freaking different artists. You know what I mean? Not only from Bad Boy, but from the different record companies that we had distribution deals with. So Soldier Boy, Nicki Minaj, you name it. French Montana, which is Bad Boy, but a lot of different artists outside of this, the roster of them we dealt with. You know what I mean? Personally and non-personally. But we dealt with them. So let's just say, I ain't bigger than Biggie, but I'm bigger than you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't bigger than Biggie, but I'm bigger than you. So, and that's not just on my self-profession or me promoting myself. That's based off the people I know in the industry, people I've dealt with in the industry. A lot of people don't realize I've dealt with some of the most top tier people in the industry, and a lot of these people know me by a whole different persona than you guys know me. A lot of these people have gotten online and said it for me. You know what I mean? Right here on YouTube. I don't even have to say it anymore. You know, my name speaks for itself. But what I have a problem with is these artists at one time or another in the near future moving forward, they're going to rally against Tory Lanez. They're going to do it silently too. What they're going to do is they're going to accept it by saying nothing. I'll say it for you again. They're going to accept what's happening to Tory Lanez and whatever's future and trajectory going to happen to him by saying nothing. And that's where you make your biggest mistake as artists. Because now if the same thing happens to you, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to stay silent. This is a tradition. You don't say anything. You don't make a statement. You don't say anything about anything. You don't say how you feel. You just let it happen. You know? So with that being said, they're going to take Tory. They're going to first, they're going to wait till he gets convicted. So then they can fully label him. Right now, they can only label him as being convicted. The appeal process hasn't taken place. I had said yesterday before I'd even seen Fresh, but I think the appeal process takes somewhere around a month or so. I gave a date when I said it'll probably be 4 months shy of December, the month we're in right now, when they start a new case. Because these things don't just start automatically. There's tons of people filing appeals in the courtroom. You don't just get special privilege because you're a star. Once you hit that courtroom, all that star treatment shit, it's out the door. If you don't believe me, look how they did Bill Cosby. He had been in the business for 60-something years. So, and it also depends on what you're charged with, you know? This is a felony. Go support Tory Lanez music. Go buy his music. He's going to need that money for his defense team. They are trying to tear and rip him apart. And I'm trying to tell these women, as you are allowing these men to be torn and ripped apart and their money stripped from them, where do you think that puts you? A lot of these women really think they're going to live in this utopia of Amazons and Wonder Woman on this desolate island, and they're only going to use men for procreation or whatever. They're making you look like Amazons in front of the whole entire world. And you just don't get it. You know what I mean? You just don't get it. So at this point, I'm just like, well, let it happen to them. Let it happen to them. Maybe after it happens to them, maybe at that point, they'll understand what I was saying and what many other men were saying. Society is setting you up to be alone and Amazonian. Meaning you don't have any gender anymore, specifically. You're misandrous, just like Wonder Woman was, a man. You never watch Wonder Woman like that? I'm not talking about Wonder Woman when she's with the Justice League and all that stuff. I'm talking about read the Wonder Woman comic books when they're on the island. Even the storyline itself is briefed in Greek mythology. And so all the women, they live on an island. The plane is invisible, so you can't even see the plane when it's coming. And they all live in this utopia of warring warrior women who all live amongst each other, and they condescendingly say to each other, this is our peace. There's not a man in sight. And when they do get a man, they don't get the man for pleasure. They get the man for procreation reasons. They then hence kill the man and then take the child and raise the child, more preferably if the child is a girl. Read the Wonder Woman comic books, you'll see the same ideology put there, and the same ideology is being put out into the world. They're making you the world's Amazons. They're making you the world's Amazons right in front of your eyes. Do you think any man of any damn importance or any type of smarts of intelligence would go and date Meg Thee Stallion now? And if you do, you're a fool. And that homeboy that she's with, Party, I think that's what his name is. Hey, homie, I understand, man. It's hard out here when you ain't on a lease. You understand? I feel you, bro. It's hard out here when you ain't on a lease. You understand? He should get a Cuck of the Year award. You understand what I'm saying? Simp of the Year. He released this statement talking about, I'm sorry for all women and that boy gonna leave you. He's not gonna stay with you. He's not gonna stay with you. Soon as your pockets run out, Meg, he's gone. Trust me on this one. You can see right through him. I don't know why you can't see it. I can see it. Everybody else can see it. And for her to go get all the money she's got and all the status she's got, she went and got a hood booger that was basically from the projects. You know what I'm saying? Look at that guy. Does this guy look intelligent to you? I'm not saying he's not intelligent, but I mean, does he, at face value, if you looked at the guy, does he look intelligent? Does he look of worth? Does he look like he has something to offer Meg outside of what she has already? No. Yet still, she was sleeping up almost 5 different rappers within a short amount of time, within 2 to 3 years, on her way up to the top. And you decided to make this one the special one. The one that didn't have no money and lives with you. You better put out a statement. It's the least you could do. Now pass that for Stacy. pass the scrimp. What do you mean you don't like Papa Do's? That's a boy. You don't know what I mean by that? That's a boy, a little boy. Y'all remember when I was messed up? Here on YouTube. Y'all remember when I was messed up by long-term followers? I see y'all in here. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all remember when I was messed up during the pandemic and I had like 5 or 6 different women in my chat room. It was like, yo, you could come stay with me. Brenna S., I know you remember. I know, what's the name remember too? Where's she at? Queen Key. She been with me for a long time. She got to remember that. I had like 5 or 6 women. It was like, yo, you come stay with me. Da, 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 da. And I was like, nah, mom, straight. You know what I mean? Because I've always lived by myself. I've always lived in condos, like always. You understand? I had one dirtbag apartment, and that was my first apartment. After that, I was like, I'm never living in this shit. And it was just condos here, there, by the beach. That's what I did. You know, this is like one of the first times I'm not in something that I want, but you know, it is what it is. And like I said, it's not all that bad. You know what I mean? At all. The place is huge. For the most part, my neighbors are cool. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple that's kind of questionable, but you know what I'm saying? For the most part, it ain't nothing to be alarmed or set about. And so I'm just like, you know, I'll do it on my own. One, I got a rental history. Two, a long rental history that stands back damn near 20 years. Two, I was out there early. I had my first apartment when I was 18 on the dot. You understand? I never went back. I've never moved back in with my mother. I've never moved back in with auntie. I've never moved back in with my uncles, etc., etc., etc. I only have 2 times in my whole entire life that I lived with a woman, and it was very briefly for one, and then the other one I was actually in a relationship. So you know what I'm saying? So Miss Gonzalez, shout out to you if you're checking me out. Shout out to Miss Gonzalez. I ain't gonna say her first name, but shout out to Miss Gonzalez. You know, even though we ended, we were still cool. You know what I mean? But I've always lived by myself. And I would have a girl come over, and 9 times out of 10, they want to stay 3, 4, 5 days or try to move in because of my surroundings at the time. You understand what I'm saying? So, and this is a fact, and you know, anybody that knows me intimately, they'll say the same thing. They ain't gonna lie to you. Anybody who used to work with me, they'll tell you the same thing. I've always lived that type of lifestyle because that's what my mother and father had provided for me. The last place I lived with my mother after my father and her had split, it had Olympic-sized pool. It had tennis courts, sauna rooms. It had a golf course built around the complexes. Inside, each one of the bedrooms had its own bathroom and in the hallway. We had a working fireplace, real working fireplace. The ones that you see nowadays that take the oil thing and you can automatically turn them on. We had one of those before it was even popular like it is now. You understand what I'm saying? So I've always lived pretty damn good. I've never lived in a bad situation, and I've never had to rely on a woman. A lot of these guys out here, and the vibes I'm getting off a homeboy because he's not a star. I'm talking about Megan Thee Stallion's boyfriend. He's not a star. Not in the same regard as she is. I mean, he might be on the come up. I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to him. But I know when I see a cup, when I see one, boy, you need somewhere to stay at. See, when it get cold outside, when it's cold outside, and I can laugh at that because I done trooped in the cold before, under hardships. You know what I'm saying? I understand. But let me tell you something. When it start getting a little wintertime, I told y'all this earlier. I said, when it start getting a little wintertime, y'all got to watch them motherfuckers be talking about, oh, baby, I always loved you. When it start getting closer to tax season, you got to watch them motherfuckers be, baby, I always loved you. You got to watch. You better watch. I'm trying to tell you, ladies. I used to tell my sister shit like this all the time. They listen. They were smart. You better watch. When it get cold outside, these motherfuckers will come creeping through the door. Hey, baby, I missed you. When it's cold outside, it's tax time. Hey, baby, listen, I was wondering if I could borrow $300. When it's cold outside. Homeboy looked like one of them type of dudes. Now, he might not be, but for me, he gives them type of vibes off. And I'm seeing other people say the same thing. So let's just say we unilaterally in agreement with that. I mean, homeboy, what you gonna do? You gonna fight everybody that's saying that about you? That's like walking through New York City and somebody bumps your shoulder, and you're like, everybody that bumps my shoulder is getting fought. That makes sense. You're gonna get killed like that sooner or later. So let me just end this with this. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button if y'all would. I don't agree with Meg Thee Stallion. I think Meg Thee Stallion is trash. I think if you men had any type of ingenuity, any type of dignity, or whatever the case may be, what you would do is any woman that agrees with her, any woman that you've seen on your timeline supporting Meg Thee Stallion, it is your duty as a man to go right now and block them. I don't care how big her BBL is. I don't care how cute she is in the face. I don't care how many good morning, beautiful messages you've been sending for the past 2 years or whatever, whatever. You need to block that woman or women on your page because they're toxic. They have indulged and shown you who they truly are inside. And you don't have any room for that. What you have room for is good women. Now, I just want to just briefly talk about the good women that were online and they were actually not because they were advocating for Tory Lanez, but some of these girls were playing the middle line. They were like, well, I don't necessarily agree with Tory, but I can see the error in the ways of the court system too. And there was a lot of women on there that was standing up and they were being stand-up women. It was like, yo, look, I see something funny here. They were talking about Meg and a whole bunch of other different things. They was even breaking it down. Some of these women even did videos explaining that. I'm not going to name these women because I noticed when I named some of these women yesterday, I had like 5 people jump off my live. And I was like, word? So you're that offended about what she said? Oh, I get it. You offended by the truth. We live in an era where the truth is a lie and a lie is the truth. And if you have somebody that's sitting out here and on a daily basis, they daily, like me and a couple other vloggers or whatever, which in my opinion, we the last really ones out here really telling the truth. Unless a lot of these guys y'all donating to and giving your money to, they tell y'all straight lies. Went back to that house to pull him down. I don't know what that means. And GT Massive, you gotta speak English. I don't understand Ebonics. Went back to that house to pull him down. I don't understand what that means. I like to read your comment, but just tell me what you mean, bro. Went back to that house and pull him down. I don't know what that means. But what I will say is this. Make sure that you unfollow these women on social media. Any woman that was consistently agreeing with her, any woman that was consistently agreeing with the notion of this man going to jail, block these women because there are some beautiful women out here that stood up like the soldiers they were and saw the reality versus of what some people wanted it to be. And I think that influence from what these women online wanted it to be actually was the reason why Tory was convicted. And I don't think that this conviction is going to sit. I'm thinking that they're going to hope for an appeal. And the other thing is, too, and I'm hearing this mentioned several times now, I think that female prosecutor had a lot to do with it, too. Yes, you heard me, a female prosecutor. So that raised the eyebrow for me also. So I think that once we get that twice removed, we get his appeal in order and everything like that. Maybe they possibly set him a bond so he can bail out doing that appeal, whatever. You'll see what really happened here. In the meantime, I want all y'all to go and make sure y'all support Tory Lanez. Buy his singles, you know what I'm saying? Buy his album if you can or whatever, because he has to be financially prepared for this appeal. Second thing I want to say to people in the music industry. Some of y'all are friends of mine still. Some of y'all we're not friends anymore. Some of y'all are real tightened up lip. because you're wondering what I'm going to say on here. And I assure you, I'm not going to say anything about you. I'm not going to tell you secrets. I'm not going to tell them what I witnessed. You see a lot of shit over 17 years. The amount of stuff that I could get on here and say, and I know I could get cash apps and all that stuff if I just said it. And matter of fact, y'all guys want to hit up the cash apps, $ STRINGERBELL80. So links in the description box and also be in a pinned comment. And if you don't see it there, just go to one of my old videos. I assure you it's there. There's a lot of secrets I could tell. There's a lot of stuff that I could tell that I witnessed or whatever the case may be, right? I've seen, I'll just say it like this. I've seen people steal money. I've seen people steal budgets. I've seen people steal product. I've seen people cheating on their girls, wife, whatever. I never said nothing. I never will. You'll never get me to say nothing. But please keep in line. I was with the company for 17 years. I'm not telling you nothing I swore. I don't care about how much money you got. I turned down $5,000 for an interview. You understand what I'm saying? Which I put up. I've turned down $5,000. I've turned down a couple $100 as well, too, which you all know. She went back to the party to get Tory, then allegedly made a comment after being exposed. Yeah. I know it intimately. I don't need nobody to come break it down for me. I know it intimately. I know the whole story. So I know you're trying to add to the story, whatever. But those little meticulous, little small details, sometimes they matter, but in this case, they don't matter because overall, in the larger scale of everything, you know what I'm saying? We have a woman that's lying about who assaulted her. And there's a probability that she either assaulted herself or her friend assaulted her, more so than this young man that's been able to take the hit for it by a female prosecutor. People will tear you down where they are with their low self-esteem. No, you know what? I hear what you're saying, GT Massive, and I more so believe that, in my opinion, the number one people that you've got to, and I'll say this, and this is just women in general, then I got to get off of here, guys. A lot of women in general now, their defense mechanism is to either insult you, benign you, dismiss you, case in point, whatever, right? And this is the element of engagement. We see this all the time online. We see this offline or whatever. You can say something that makes perfect sense. In a room full, like I said, in a room full of educated people, a room full of constituents from the Senate or wherever, or in the debate room, you cannot be you will be undisputed. You understand what I'm saying? But in a court full of, and I hate to say it like this, in a courtroom full of society, you understand what I'm saying? When those people that make up that courtroom in the society sense are from the city housing projects, they're uneducated or whatever, and then you give all of them a free account. A free account. I don't know how many times I can underline this, and this is why I keep on pushing the fact to a couple of certain people in the business that I know. I ain't gonna say too much, you know what I'm saying? Because we might actually get this done. But I think there should be a charge every month to use certain platforms. That way it will eradicate who's able to get up online and spew garbage, spew hate, or whatever. I think this should go all the way down in tiers from who can stream, which that's already there. I've got over 10,000 followers, so I'm able to do stuff like make shorts. I'm able to make another form of shorts, which a lot of y'all see, y'all start paying attention to that now. I'm able to go live with someone else, where someone that has under 10,000 cannot do any of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So being that I have over 10,000 followers, and I'm at 13,000, might as well say now. I'm what, about 200 off? Since I have that many amount of followers, it gives me certain privileges and certain, things that I can do. Well, let's say if we adapt that same thing to a pay tier, and I think this will eliminate a lot of the riffraff that's online nowadays, and there's a lot of them. It will eliminate a lot of the problems and the back and forth bickering or whatever, and especially it'll interfere with a lot of these ladies and gentlemen that get up online. They say whatever they're going to say, and then they'll disappear or they'll block you, or there's all kinds of silly stuff that they do like children. I think we should more so start applying that type of method, and I think that's what's going to happen moving forward. And hopefully the people that I'm talking to will be able to facilitate that, which I'm pretty sure they will. But I'm hoping they're able to. This is not a dream, as y'all can see. I like everything I say, I make it happen. You don't have to believe me. I don't give a crap. But I'm hoping this is something that will happen, and I'm hoping that I will be one of the people that is admonished as being the architect for this idea of such. I think there's a lot of people that need to be put offline, especially a lot of those people that were tweeting and saying and Instagram posts and Facebook posts or whatever, Reddit posts that were saying what they were saying about Tory in this benign, this insidious, nasty way. And I want you to start looking at these women that you're dating and pay attention to what they pay attention to. Because a lot of the women that's sitting up under you right now was interacting with these motherfuckers yesterday online. And you just sitting there with your wife, a a he. That'll be the same chick that have you in divorce court. That'd be the same chick that talking about, yo, I need this child support modified. I need $3,000 a month. And the whole time you sitting up there and you like, huh? You will be blessed if giving up is not in your makeup. Now, I don't give up. Listen, last time I had a donation, I believe it was what, 2 weeks ago? I could use it right now. But still, I jump on here, I say what I want to say. It's Christmas Eve for all that matter. You understand what I'm saying? And nobody has contributed to me. A lot of people don't like me because when they see me as the enemy, because I used to be in that industry, still am around that industry, still associated with that industry. I could never change that. I tell you guys all the time, once you're part of this, you don't, in the tier that I was in the branch that I was in the company I'm attached to, once you in, you always in until somebody else say so that you're not. My interpretation of what you just said is this. If you give up, I remember Ha Davis said, I had 1 million followers. Y'all know who Ha Davis is? He's a comedian. Ha Davis said, I had 1 million followers and was damn near broke. It wasn't until I started moving in with these companies and doing all this other stuff that was outside the people that I actually started making money. So what I have to do is now make a decision for myself moving into 2023 as far as this. And I think my better option is I'm going to go ahead and partner with Google. I can consistently get paid through Google. I can block whoever I want to. I have welded enough because they just sent me recently another thing telling me that, hey, don't forget that you can reply again for your what's the name? For my AdSense account or whatever the case may be. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that and just get the fluff out the way. Now, mind you, these conversations I'm having right now, this won't be it. I've already got condensing in my mind. If I do that, how I'm going to change the channel. It's going to be totally different. Some of you may not even want to come here anymore after that. But it's not going to be on the purpose of y'all because you don't monetarily support me. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being in order, I have to do what's best for me. So I'm not going to give up. Oh, no. I'm just going to trick rate and circumnavigate around those that are not. Words are great, and I love them. And as I'm talking this and I'm saying this, I'm noticing people are screwing off and logging off. You're logging off because you're exactly the person that I was talking about. And you're mad and say, well, how could you go partner with Google? How could you not donate to me? How about that? You know what I mean? You guys got to make a living here. Don't be a hypocrite. That's hypocrite shit. We ain't going to support you, but we want you to keep it real and do this for free. This is not a free paradigm. Now, if we get monetized, or if I make money off facilitating business on PayPal, I have to pay taxes on that. Here on YouTube, we have to fill out W-4 forms, which I had to do the first time I applied for Google AdSense. And at that time, they only wanted me to remove that. It was like 6 videos. And I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. I should have done it then. You cannot depend on the people. I don't know if y'all not getting this whole premise of what I'm saying here. If you saw what happened with this guy and Meg, I let you know the people are not the people you should be worried about. Worry about yourself. And if you can work the people, because the people are not even worried about themselves. They don't care. They're racing to the top. So I got to get on the track. I got to get on the track with them. And just like y'all, if I got to shove a couple in front of a train or whatever else, I'm going to do so. I'm gonna play just like y'all play. You can't continue to play fair, and then hope everybody else is gonna play fair. It doesn't work that way in every arena. And unfortunately, YouTube is one of those arenas where everybody is so separated and everybody is so condensing on being number one on YouTube instead of being number one amongst the folks that unfortunately this is where it's at. So um I'm gonna give it, I say 2 weeks in January or whatever, then I'm gonna go ahead and make that change. And if you choose based on the material that I'll be putting up then and talking about then, if you choose to leave, so be it. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I keep on getting more followers. I got 94 new subscribers last night, and I didn't even put up nothing barely. So I don't care anymore. Yeah, the business is a thing. It is. It is. The business is a thing. And a lot of people, they just don't know that. Most people, they don't know the inner workings of YouTube and how it really works. A lot of people are misconstrued and think that everything that happens on YouTube will be the same outcome for them. This is why you see some people. I've seen people that literally have, and even though I was a little bit lucky, because I actually had a story, and that's how I became, I guess you want to say, so popular on here, whatever, whatever. But if it's not translating into the dollar bill, and this is why I halted my clothing line, this is why I halted launching another single, whatever, 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 on here. And now I'm actually testing out right now in the testing phases that I've been for the past 2 months on another platform, and that's building. So I'm cool with having two platforms. Social media is good and it's bad. When you're talking about, and this is where I come down to, and this is probably going to be the last thing I say here. When it comes down to me, I had women actually influence other women to not donate to me based on something I said before, something that I said before that now holds true, which is secretly a lot of these women hate their own men. Well, if you just look at the posts that were up yesterday about Tory Lanez, that proves that. If you just look at the posts that were up when Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were going to court, that proves that, you know? So, and both of those chicks were lying in both cases, all three of them, rather. So, and ironically, none of them went to jail for lying. That's another subject I have there. That's why I think they just put Tory in jail to quell the argument. They're going to give him his appeal, and he's going to walk from that. But the damage is done as far as his career, but he can bounce back from it. I'd like to work with Tory because I'm so good at matching people in their voices. I'm able to pick out very quickly what beat might go with your voice. I'm able to pick out and this is from years and years and years of trial and error. I even listen to music on my what's the name on my beats on my own, and I'll be like, nah, this ain't gonna work. Nah, this ain't gonna work. Nah, this ain't gonna work. You know. I think Tory Lanez could bounce back, and I don't think his career is over. But what I need you guys to do is go out there and effectively buy a single. Please do that. And to the people that got upset and left when I said what I said, oh well, it always happens. You ask them to donate or whatever, whatever, they won't donate to me. But if you go over into somebody else's page that's a more popular vlogger, as they feel, or they giving them $100, $500, $200, $300. I have one or two particular people that donate $100, $200, $300 all the time. And then you have other people that just they'll watch you day after day after day after day after day, and they won't donate to you until you start getting popular. At that time, I don't want you here. I told y'all a long time ago when I had 2,000 followers. I said, don't come talking to me when I get 10,000 followers. Well, I'm beyond 10,000 followers. So don't come talking to me when I get 100K followers. I'm beyond 100K followers. Don't come talking to me when I get 1 million followers. Make them feel good and don't stop. It's their law. Yeah, make them feel good. I'm not here to make individuals feel good every day, and you're not doing anything for me as far as rippers, you know, recompensing the same emotion or invoking the same, solitude towards me. I can't do that every day. If you do that, you end up becoming a people pleaser. And what happens to people pleasers is they subsequently end up getting thrown down a hole, you know? It happened to me once in life, and I swore to God it would never happen to me again. So for me personally, I'm at my wits end. I spent the whole year here. I'll just say this as I leave off. Make sure you buy Tory Lanez music. people in the music industry, I just wanted to say this. Make sure that this broad doesn't have an easy fucking time. That's it. I don't want to say too much, but you get what I'm saying. Make sure she doesn't have an easy time. Okay. Now the second thing I want to say is people in the industry that know me and don't know me or whatever the case may be, but particularly to the ones that do know me, y'all see through this and y'all know what I know, miss, so y'all not going to say anything. Got you. Bro, I want y'all to realize this. This girl's a liar. She lied in the courtroom. She lied and had a friend lie. And subsequently, they piggybacked off each other. And they were the reason that a man who is more than less probably innocent here, I'm going to say 80% probably innocent here, be able to be convicted based on a technicality. And the women that saluted and followed this as fanatics for this woman were in celebratory fashion all over social media, even to today. So I want you to look at that and I want you to realize that could be you if something happens to you. And so don't sit here and embrace these type of women. Embrace the chick that's great. You know, so many times, y'all, Megan Thee Stallion has got more respect as a rapper that twerks with her cheeks hanging out than a young lady that's graduating from Yale University or Harvard University, a Howard or HBCU or anything else. Do you realize that? She's got more of concern going on with her than she has with girls that are graduating this coming up spring. And I tell y'all, it's the same thing with get some Mo that's coming home from jail. Oh, they'll celebrate him up and down versus the guy that's trying to get on his feet or whatever the case may be or just graduated college. Love that woman in your life or take a Uber. I don't even know what that means, but yeah, great. I don't love any woman. I don't trust most women. I think most women are liars. I think most women are con artists. I'm talking about nowadays. I think most women are con artists. I think most women don't have any intent other than sleeping with men and getting notches in their belt. I think most women are have shitty personalities nowadays. I think most women nowadays don't even know how to turn on a man outside of Latin women and white women. And I really mean that. And I don't mean the totality of black women either are part of this little group. But I really honestly and truthfully think, in my personal opinion, that the emotional part and the loving part and everything like that, that was invoked in music at one time. You know, still some people still make it. Tory himself trying to make music like that. And you saw that Meg the Stallion and her twerking music overpowered that because most of these girls are 304s and that's what they identify with. City girls get it, fuck a nigga all night, taking money, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Look at Karesha. You know, like I don't really take advice from other women about women because what other women do, unless it's an older woman, and I mean like 60, 70 years old, but I never take the advice of a younger woman about other women because most of the time they want to say something to you that's condescending with you being subservient to women. You understand what I'm saying? It's all a mentality. A lot of other women are very good actresses too, and they'll act like they're with you. I've had it happen a million times here where women will come on my page, they'll be like, yeah, I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you. But if you check the pedigree in them and you see things in them or whatever, you say, hey, why don't you donate here? They won't donate here, but I'll catch them over at Gene Deal's page. I'll catch them over here at this vlogger's page. I'll catch them over here at this vlogger's page, donating hundreds of dollars, all because they want to be seen. Because that person's got the super chat set up or whatever. Mind you, they don't even know they donate $200. You understand what I'm saying? 30% of it's going to it's going to be taken from Google. So no, I don't trust most women. I really don't. I was in a situation where I dated a woman for about 7 years, and I ended up getting the butt end of that. You know what I mean? And I have not had another girlfriend officially since then. I've slept with a couple broads, whatever, but nothing compared to what I was in. I'm at this point, I wouldn't even, honestly and truthfully, to be honest with you, I wouldn't date realistically a woman unless I vented her out for at least 2 to 3, 4 months. I'm a very loving person. I'm a Taurus. So our first, Venus is our ruler. Venus is one of the ruling fasces of Aphrodite. Aphrodite is responsible for the cherub. The cherub is responsible for what you call Valentine's Day. It's representatory of that. So our whole Inuit is love. But I'm also a Taurus and I'm the bull. And when we get mad, we get extremely mad. You better get the hell out the way because my mad is different. But I concur, and I'll say this. Most women have put yourself in positions where you cannot be trusted. Most women have put themselves in positions where they believe that they are so privileged that they cannot be judged. And so what you'll find very quickly with me, if you're trying to date me, I'm not only going to vent you, I'm going to judge you. I'm going to look at you and be like, you know what? I just don't see myself in this situation, and I don't think you fit for me. And I think if Tory Lanez would have really vented out and saw what happened based on the videos I've seen him in, and I'll throw that up for you later on, he would have peeped that about Meg Thee Stallion. So guys, stop thinking what you D and start thinking what you be, which means your brain. And you'll find yourself avoiding these situations with these hellish women that mean you no good whatsoever. Other than that, guys, make sure you go support Tory Lanez, buy his music. You understand what I'm saying? If you talk to him personally, tell him I was advocating for that. Make sure you do that before they start the whole campaign and start removing his music away from these different things. This is not going to happen until they return back to court and he gets sentenced. That's where they'll start allocating for that. They have to do that. The record companies have to do that. And the advocates for particular things like that have to do that. They have to wait till he's actually sentenced to make an impact with it, because right now it could be too many variables. Oh, he might fall for appeal. Oh, he may have not done it. Once he gets convicted, and they give him his time, that's something totally different. The second thing I want to tell you guys, stop trusting these chicks out here. They will grin with you, they will smile with you, but trust me, underneath their heart, many of them, they're dark and morbid as hell, and they're not to be trusted. Don't bring them in your home automatically. Don't bring them around your friends automatically. Vent them out, because what you will find is a lot of these women have salacious and nasty, insidious intentions with you. And if you're not careful, you can get caught up in it. You understand? And I hate to say it, but if you see if you need any more representation, just look at these responses about Tory Lanez, not from just Black women and Latin women, but all women, but specifically Black and Latin women. They've been the most harshest in this. And they say they're like that because we defend in the name of Black women. No, you're defending the name of victimhood. You are America's victims. And as you continue to be America's victims, what you're going to find is the sympathy is going to fade more and more and more. And then poof, feminism is gone. That's my time, guys. I'll talk to you later.